Hi, this is Mandy and Toulouse again with the Daily Crochet, and in this video I'm going to show you how to read a pattern. I'm using my iPad to show you the pattern. I've zoomed in quite a bit so I can show you so you can see the words and everything. Usually at the beginning of a pattern it'll tell you a little bit about what you need to know, like the size of the pattern at the end when you're finished, and a little bit about how the person made it and stuff like that. And then it also shows you these abbreviations. If a pattern doesn't show abbreviations, they're usually the same for every pattern. You know, CH for chain, ST for stitches, SS for slip stitch, SC for single crochet, and so on. They're pretty easy, pretty simple. Some people will say DEC for decrease stitch, and some people will say SC2 TOG, which just means single crochet two together, which is another way of saying decrease. So to do that, you would just look at my decreasing stitches video that I posted. It'll also show you the materials you'll need, and it'll show you the size hook you need. In this one you need a size E because it's a smaller amigurumi. This pattern makes a little owl about that big, and so you would need a smaller hook than you would usually use, but most of the time you're going to use a size G hook. Now all you have to do is just work each round one at a time, just so you don't get too confused and you don't get too ahead of yourself. If you just pull it apart piece by piece, it's actually really simple to read. When I first started, I got very overwhelmed by the patterns and all the abbreviations and everything, but if you just do one round at a time, don't look at all the other rounds, and just pull it apart piece by piece, then you can figure it out yourself. But this first row is typical of most amigurumi. They'll say chain 2, work 6 single crochets in first chain, and that's pretty much just the long way of saying do a magic circle with 6 single crochets in it. And then the round 2, you're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around, which means that in each of the V's you're going to do 2 single crochets, and that'll make it have 12 stitches all the way around, and you'll be able to count those stitches at the end. And make sure that when you start a new round that you put a stitch marker in the first stitch of your row, and I'll show you how to do that in another video. But at the end of each line they should say how many stitches, and like in this one you're going to increase the amount of stitches every other V, so you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then in the next one you're just going to do 1 single crochet, and you do that over and over 6 times, or until you reach the end of the round, and you'll end up with 18 stitches. And that's pretty much all you need to know about how to read a pattern. Sometimes they'll tell you after a certain round to start stuffing, or to put in the eyes, or whatever else you need to do, and sometimes they won't. They'll just assume that you know when to do it. The best time to do eyes is before you start decreasing, so you have plenty of room to work with. And the best time to do stuffing is when you probably have 2 or 3 rows to do, and you use your chopstick looking thing that comes with the stuffing to push the stuffing in and make sure it's nice and tight. And that's pretty much it. That's how you read a pattern.